Hello, everyone, and welcome once again to Sean's Horror Corner. As always, thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate you tuning in. To everyone who's been subscribing, liking, hyping, commenting, sharing, thank you guys all so much. I really appreciate you all. Today, so excited to welcome Brendan back from Our Life in Horror. Brendan, thanks for coming on.
Hey, of course. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, we're going to keep going through Scream, try to get this all wrapped up before the new one comes out. But before we do, as always, again, I say this every time, but I know anybody who's familiar with my channel already knows you guys. But take a minute to promote your channel and talk about anything you might have coming up.
Of course. I am one half of Our Life in Horror, and currently, what we got coming up is um, this come out on Wednesday.
Yes.
Wednesday. So Thursday, Sam and I are going to be on um, Sledgehammer Horror. We're going to be doing the Newlywed Games
Oh,
live
cool.
on their channel that night. So stay tuned in for that. And then I don't think we have anything too much planned for a little bit. I got to figure out some stuff on what's going on. But we do movie reviews. I do a lot of physical media talk as well. We are on Instagram, TikTok, and I think for right now we're on X. Stay tuned for that if that continues or not. But that's about it for right now. Lots
Okay.
of movie reviews and just simple stuff like that.
Very cool. Yeah, definitely check it out. We just had a blast doing the Screamies. I guess
Yes.
last weekend. That was a lot of fun. And I caught myself. I felt so bad after I noticed it. So one of my episodes that came out before uh, our award show that we just did, because I've been promoting it on all of them, and I just managed for some reason on one of them. I think it was the same day that I had been listening to the Slasher Radio podcast, and they had their award show called the Slashies, I think is what they called it. Uh,
Yep.
One of my episodes at the end, I mentioned our Slashies show coming up, and then I'm like, that was not what that was, but yeah. So yeah, my bad. But anyway, I still think it was a lot of fun. We had a great time doing that.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I can't wait, hopefully, to get to do it again next year if we're as privileged as we were this year.
Yeah, I agree completely. So we're going to continue along with Scream today. We're going to be talking about Scream 4. But you and I were talking before we started recording a little bit, just kind of looking at what we had rated some of the other movies. So I think we were both really high on the first one. I gave it a 10. You said you gave it a 9.5. Is that what you said?
Yep, I gave it a 9.5 just in case there was room for improvement.
Okay, very good. The second one, I was also a huge fan of. I gave it an 8. Do you remember what you gave it?
Yeah, we matched on that one. I also
We
gave it an
both
8.
gave it an 8. And then the third one, we both had a few issues with, but I liked it a little bit better than you did. I went either a 6.5 or a 7. I don't remember now. And you gave it a.
I gave it 5, just right down the middle. It
Okay.
was it was a lot more bearable than what I remembered it being. So
Okay. All right. Well, I'm very curious to see your thoughts on this one because it had been a while since I watched this one. I mean, I've seen them all multiple times, but it had been a while since I watched this one. So went back and watched it a few days ago. And yeah, I feel like my opinion has changed a little bit on this one, but yeah, we'll get into that. So let me put my glasses on so I can read my notes and we'll get started. So Scream 4, tagline, new decade, new rules, brief synopsis for the film. 10 years after the original Woodsboro murders, one of the survivors returns home to promote their new book about surviving trauma, only for a new Ghostface killer to emerge, targeting a new group of teens. The film was released April 15th of 2011, directed by Wes Craven, written by Kevin Williamson, distributed by Dimension Films, a runtime of 111 minutes, $40 million budget, $97.2 million at the box office. I'm going to go ahead and mention some cast members real quick, and then we'll just talk about a lot of that kind of stuff together. But Nev Campbell, David Arquette, Courtney Cox, all returning. We have Hayden Panettiere, Emma Roberts, Adam Brody, Marley Shelton, Rory Culkin, all stop there. So yeah, let's just start with some of that. Give me your thoughts on cast, characters, cinematography, score, story, all of that kind of stuff.
well, I guess we should get the elephant out of the room, I guess, to start. This movie looks fucking awful. It, it it's still the number one reason why this movie isn't as high for me, isn't as high as it should be. Um I don't know what the cinematographer was thinking or who allowed this, but the exposure in this movie is just dialed right up.
Yeah.
is way too bright. There is just sun gleaming off of everything. It looks like a fucking disaster. There's a sequence in the film where there's two that I'll bring up, and I wish I had
Okay.
still, but there's one where it's either Dewey or Gale walk into the bookstore at the start of the film to meet Sid, and like the light behind them is shimmering like they're fucking Jesus or God,
Yeah.
and it just looks terrible. And the whole movie just has that weird, washed out fucking look to it. There's another scene too. This is more of a simpler scene where there's cops going down the street, but like their headlights, when you look at them, are just they're not like regular filmed headlights. They're just so blown out and
Yeah.
just take up so much of the screen, and it's just so distracting.
Right.
Other than that, I think the film looks fine, like cinematography wise, like not cinematography wise, but like it's shot well enough,
Yeah.
and it feels like a Scream movie. I mean, this is Wes Craven still.
Yes.
So it's a good looking movie, but fuck, whoever had the exposure rates on those films let in way
Yeah.
too much light.
I agree. I agree completely. That was one of the things I wrote down. I don't like the lighting in the film. Everything else I'm okay with. The score it's still Scream. There is one thing I'll mention when we get to the plot walkthrough that I did kind of like a little bit. What do you think about the story for this one?
I like the story, and I feel like the score was a lot more pronounced in this movie than the last two. For me personally, I felt it was a little more bombastic. Yeah, so I just right off the bat, I kind of felt like it had more of a presence than it did in any of the last two films. For story, I like the story. Can I be honest?
Absolutely.
I think this movie is way ahead of its time. And my personal opinion of this movie, I think this movie was made 10 years too late. If this movie would have came out in, say, I think 2018, I bet you this movie would have done incredibly well. This movie is so smart. This movie, in my opinion, set up the requels. I know that the Legacy sequel or whatever, basically Scream 4 is that in all of itself. It's actually incredible how well it's done. And then with the character of yeah, I got his name here. What's his name?
Sure.
Robbie having the little GoPro on his head, streaming all the time. Look at us right now. All we're doing is streaming life. This movie had so many ideas that were ahead of its time, and they were done so early on that it just blows my mind that Wes Craven was able to predict, and Kevin Williamson, I guess, that life was going to go this way.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
I think it's incredible. I honestly, and for them to do kind of a better Scream Legacy chapter, I wish this could have just been called Scream, and then Scream 5 just could have been Scream 5.
Yeah.
And it's like you can almost interweave them, and they make more sense because they bring up the remake craze in this movie as well.
Right.
And everything like that. Just nobody had thought about Legacy sequels yet. But this is the Legacy sequel.
It really is. I agree.
And I think the villain's motivations too is also more prevalent today than it was back then.
Yeah.
It's totally way more significant now than what it did in 2011. This movie came out.
Yes, 2011.
Yeah, I mean, this movie has a good balance of both legacy characters and new characters. I think it has a better balance than in the next film. But yeah, I really enjoyed the story personally.
Okay. No, I like the story as well. My issue that I have, we were talking a little bit before we started recording about something, and I'm sure that's what you're waiting on. But my issue is not the story. I like the story as well. I had not thought about it the way you described it just now about how ahead of its time it was, but I 100% see that. So I definitely agree with you. Yeah, that's interesting. For some reason, I just did not think about that. But yeah, the Robbie doing the whole GoPro thing is, that makes a lot of sense there. But let me ask you, you were talking about the characters and all a little bit. Do you like the characters cast, everything for this?
I mean, the legacy characters are fine. I do like that Gale and Dewey have been married for some time now. I think that is the best way they could have started this film,
Okay.
rather than have them go in there. You
The
know,
whole back and
called the
forth.
class. Yeah, the classic
Yeah.
Dewey and Gale's dilemma that we've seen for the last two films. Um, yeah, I like Jill. I mean, as much as I say you get enough time with them, you don't get a crazy amount of time. I do definitely think there are more standouts. Like Robbie and Charlie tend to get a little bit more screen time than say Olivia. Um, Kirby gets a lot of screen time. Deputy Hicks tends to get a lot of screen time in this as well, and I actually like Deputy Hicks. Um, Jill, again, I feel like she kind of disappears for quite a bit of the movie, but of course, this movie being so old,
Yeah.
spoilers, of course, it's understandable why she disappears for so long.
Right. Right.
The only person I wish that would have got more screen time and potentially could have gotten a little bit more setup as a red herring is probably Trevor.
Okay.
Because they kind of try to do that with Trevor, kind of pin the whole thing on him, but I don't think he was getting enough screen time. We don't really care. He's just this cheating ex-boyfriend who just kind of pops in and out of the movie from time to time.
Yeah.
And his character just never quite did it for me. But Kirby is, of course, the standout in this movie for me. I think when little Brendan saw Kirby for the first time, he was quite infatuated with her and her horror movie knowledge, of course.
Yeah.
Because that's another thing too, is like it normalizes girls being infatuated with horror films and film in general, right?
Right.
No longer is it the niche of geeky male men, that enjoy horror films. Everybody can enjoy films.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. Yeah, I agree with a lot of what you said. I like the returning characters as well. Of course, I mean, everyone knows I'm a huge Neve Campbell fan. Love the Sidney Prescott character. I agree with you. I like the fact that we got to get started with Dewey and Gale on this one. I think Emma Roberts does a good job. Jill's fine. And like you said, it's kind of you understand why, now that you've seen the movie, why she disappears at times. Yeah.
Come on, throw it out there. Don't be shy.
Let's start with a character that I don't like. And I didn't really realize it before until watching it this time. I don't like Deputy Hicks. I know you said you like Deputy Hicks. She was annoying to me.
Okay.
Yeah, just not a fan of that character, and I never really noticed it before. But yeah, I kept thinking, watching it this time, like, man, now that I know what happens in 5, and we won't go there yet, but I'm kind of glad that happens in 5, because she was kind of getting on my nerves a little bit in this one. And then Kirby.
Oh, I like Deputy Hicks. Deputy Hicks has like some weird quirks. You know what I mean? Like even
she does, and I think they were bugging me for some reason. I don't know. Yeah, she was bothering me.
Body language too. Like watch how next time you do decide to watch this movie, watch how she walks. Because she walks with this like definitive purpose, and she almost walks with like both fists down, and they're always in fists, and she just kind of walks like this. And she continues it into Scream 5 too. Like that's a character thing that she just decided to keep in, and I'm like, oh, that's actually kind of neat that they decided to do this.
Yeah,
but
cool.
I think she was of course set up to be a red herring for the film.
Yeah, which it kind of, I mean, I agree, especially with some moments there are a couple of moments in the film where her and Sidney are talking, and I feel like those moments paint her for sure as a red herring. And then there's some other moments where, I mean, maybe that's what it was supposed to do as well. I don't know. I think for some reason, and we'll talk more about Gale in a little bit, but I think for some reason the battle between her and Gale, and the whole Lemon Squares thing, and just the way she's standing in front of Dewey's office at one point trying to keep Gale out, I was just like, this girl is getting on. I mean, if I was Gale, I'd be pissed at her as well. Like, this girl's just getting on my nerves. So I don't know. I wasn't, and I've never really felt that way before. So I don't know where that came from this time. Maybe I was just in a mood or something. But yeah, not a fan of Deputy Hicks. And then Kirby. Okay. First, let
You
me
don't
say,
like Kirby?
no, I don't want it to come across that way because I know how beloved Kirby is in this franchise. Kirby's fine, but I don't get. I do love. I love the scene where she's running through all the horror movies there on the phone with Ghostface. I love the fact that she's such a horror movie fanatic. That's all great. Um, Other than that, there's nothing that special about this character for me. Like I'm trying. I'm like, why is Kirby such a big deal? She's fine. I don't dislike her, but I'm just like, oh, okay. I mean, yeah, Kirby's fine. I just don't really have much of an opinion either way, other than that one scene where she's naming off all those movies. I really like that scene, but I kind of hinted at this when we talked about Scream 3, and I've completely forgot her name right now, but I like the side character of the one girl that was playing Gail in the movie more than I
Okay.
like Kirby. I'm just like, yeah, okay, Kirby's fine. I mean, again, I don't dislike Kirby. I really don't. I just don't get. She's so beloved in this franchise, and I just don't get why.
I think she was like the first kind of replacement Randy character that you kind of got
Okay,
that
that's fair.
almost filled the shoes of the original film, you know? Like
Okay,
we kind of get it later on with Mindy as well, especially
yeah,
with Mindy being the niece of Randy. But yeah, I think Kirby was just kind of that first gender swapped movie buff role that kind of seems,
okay,
and it's spoken about the movies too. Like she doesn't really hold back as much as like some of the other characters in the film tend to do.
yeah.
And like this whole fucking friend group is in Cinema Club. Not realistic.
No, I
Just
agree.
just saying. Like even Trevor's in there.
Yeah,
No way fucking Trevor's playing football or basketball or some shit. There's no way fucking Trevor's in Cinema Club.
yeah, I agree. Yeah,
Unrealistic.
I agree. The Trevor character is another one that I'm just kind of there. Um, I feel like maybe they had. I agree with you that he was kind of a red herring as well, but I didn't think they would go the boyfriend route again for this. I mean, they hint at it in Scream 2, and it turns out not to be. But and they try to put in Scream 3, they try to make Mark the deputy guy there a red herring a couple of times. I think I was just kind of maybe over that trope a little bit for this franchise at that point, so
Mhm.
I was just kind of ignoring Trevor. Um, yeah, whatever. I never bought. There was not one time watching this that I thought, the first time I saw it before I knew who the killers were. There was not one time I thought Trevor was one of the killers. I just never bought it at all. And maybe because we don't get enough screen time with him to form an opinion. But yeah, I just so yeah, that's one of my takes on this. Again, I don't dislike Kirby. I'm just like, she's okay.
All right, all right. I mean, look out for that fucking Scream fan base coming after you
I
right now.
know. Yeah, I probably just lost them. I just gained a few subscribers. I'm probably about to lose so many after that comment. But and yeah, again, I don't dislike her. I just don't love her. A couple of production notes here that I want to mention to talk with you about a little bit. This is the lowest grossing film in the franchise. Kevin Williamson had expressed his desire for this movie for the audience to care more about the characters and less about the next kills. Um, an early draft for the film featured Gail and Dewey having a baby, but then they decided that would be too difficult to work in with some of the other action scenes, so they dropped that. Another script had the opening of the film being Sidney and Ghostface battling right off the bat, and Ghostface thinking he had killed Sidney and leaving her for dead, and then picking up 2 years later when Ghostface finds out that she's still alive and that she's been recovering for the past 2 years. Um, don't really know what happened to cause that one to be dropped. The original ending um, had Jill being loaded into the ambulance with us not knowing what happened to some of the other customers. From the hospital, you would hear a paramedic announcing that there is a female survivor, but it was going to be left as a mystery as to whether the survivor was Sidney or Kirby. We wouldn't get all of the hospital stuff there at the very end, and that would set up Jill as the killer in the next film, and a reveal of who lived, was it Sidney or Kirby. What's your thoughts on that idea? Would you have liked to have seen them done that, or not necessarily?
I don't think that's a bad idea. It'd actually be kind of interesting if we saw Kirby and Sydney kind of take on the Ghostface persona and torture the survivor or the Jill of the last
Yeah,
film for a whole film. I think that'd be kind of cool, but that's not in Sydney's mindset. When
right.
that I could never see that. I could never see her character do that.
Yeah,
So that'd be a little kind of tough to kind of work around. But following Jill Roberts for another film where she gets to be the villain, is that something that, I mean, the thing about Scream movies is that you don't know who the killer is, right? It's the who
right.
done it aspect. I mean, you can't really lose that.
Yeah, I agree. Because when I first read this, I was like, "Oh, that would have been kind of cool if they'd have done something like that." But then, my next thought was exactly what you just said. Like, then it wouldn't have felt like a Scream movie because we would have known the whole time what was going on. And I think it would just kind of taken things away a little bit. Interesting idea, but I don't think it would have worked in the long run. Um, Especially then, if you wanted to come back with, I mean, who knows if they would have done that, what they would do for 5 or 6 or anything else. But it would be hard to go back then to not knowing who the killer was, I think, as well. So I just think it could have thrown things off all the way around.
Hmm.
The only other thing I noted, Ashley Green. I don't know if you're familiar with Ashley Green.
Yep.
I primarily know her from the Twilight movies, but I've seen her in a few other things. But she was actually initially offered the role of Jill, but turned it down, and it ended up going to Emma Roberts. I like Ashley Green. I think she's a good actress. I don't think this would have worked as well with her instead of Emma Roberts. I think Emma Roberts nails this.
Yeah, Emma Roberts is definitely the ideal choice for this part. 100%.
Yeah.
Ashley Green is a decent actress. She was in one of my favorite independent films of last year. So, um, yeah, I definitely not hating on Ashley Green. But I love Emma Roberts as Jill Roberts in this movie, and it's the part of the movie that I wait for with anticipation the whole time because I'm always so excited to see it. Um, which we'll of course get to later on down the road. But every time I watch this movie, I'm like, I can't wait to get to that sequence in the film.
Yeah, she's really good. All right, well, we'll start to get into the plot and walk through this thing a little bit, and we're going to start off with this opening scene. And here again is a place where my mentality changed for some reason. With this opening scene, we get 2 stab openings before we actually get the characters of Marnie and Jenny being killed. Um, Give me your thoughts on this opening. Do you like the 2 stab openings first, and then with Marnie and Jenny's kills? Just kind of what your thoughts are here with this opening of this.
So this is one of my favorite stab openings, I think, since the first one.
Okay.
Really loved it. I think it was really clever to do 2 and have the first 2 be openings to the Stab movies and the Stab franchise. I thought it was extremely clever of them. I mean, this is where they can kind of throw around movie meta stuff going on. You got the 2 openers. I thought the first 2 were good. Like, I thought they were well acted until you kind of get the reveal where they die, and then the one actress gets like really cartoony with their death.
Yeah.
But they call out the torture porn and Saw and stuff like that, which I thought was kind of fun, especially since that was like the whole 2000s decade, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I enjoyed the first segment as well, and also the reveal of two Ghostface right off the smash. I thought was also very clever of them because they're just gonna like, yep, we're just gonna show you right away. There's 2, like potentially 3. You don't know, right? Because but there is at least 2. So I really did enjoy that as well.
Okay. I have mixed feelings here. I remember the first time I saw this, and even seeing it a couple of times afterwards. I really liked this opening. Watching it the other day, I don't like it as much as I used to, because the thought that crossed my mind when I was watching this the other day to get ready for this is this opening doesn't feel like a Scream movie like the other ones did. I mean, we got that classic opening in the first one, right? I mean, that's amazing. The second one, we get the 2 kills in the movie theater. The third one, we start off with Cotton Weary and his girlfriend being killed. This one just, I don't know, with us having the comedic opening and the 2 stab things first, it takes it a little bit away for me for some reason. Like I was watching this and I'm like, this doesn't feel like the other ones did for some reason to me, just right out of the gate. And maybe we're setting the tone for what we're getting here, but I just almost thought one would have been fine, but to do it twice was, I think, a little bit too much for me. And I feel like they give it away because I made a note here. The score is completely different. So if anybody's paying attention to the score, those first two Stab movie kills, you don't hear that original Scream score. And then as soon as you get to Marnie and Jenny and what's going on with them, it's there. So to me, if you hadn't seen this movie and you're watching this, I think as soon as you start hearing that Scream score, you know right off the bat, okay, this one's real. The other two were Stabbed. This is actually Scream.
Okay.
And I think that kind of threw me off a little bit as well. I mean, I noticed it and I'm like, oh, I don't think I've ever noticed that before, but that tells you this is the real kill right here. So there's just a couple of things with this opening. None of it so much that it causes me to dislike the film, but just a couple of little things I had issues with. It didn't feel like Scream, and the score change gave it away, in my opinion. But yeah, nothing too major, just nitpicks.
Okay. Yeah, I feel the opposite with you. I really enjoyed it.
Okay.
Not gonna lie, I really hate Anna Paquin.
Okay.
As an actress overall, I'm sorry. Sorry, Anna, if you decide to watch this movie. My wife adores you, but I dislike your acting. Kristen Bell, I really enjoyed it, and this quick little segment with her as well. Yeah, that's my little tidbit for that. And I thought the other opening was fine. I didn't think it was particularly great. In fact, I think the one actress, the second one to go, I thought her acting was a little rough in this film as well. I was actually a little shocked. But yeah, I think it was fine. I mean, it's a Scream opening movie. Like, we don't really. I don't think we get a surprise like we did in the original until the next film with the opening. Like everybody knows the first kill is going to happen, and it's the characters that you're introduced with are there just to die.
Yeah.
Which kind of sucks. It would be nice if there was like a kind of a change up throughout the last two films, where you don't know if somebody is going to live or die, but we do get that in the 5. So yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. From there, we get Sydney returning to Woodsboro to promote her book. We do find out that Dewey and Gale are together, like we were talking about early. Dewey's the sheriff now. We get an introduction to some of these other characters. Jill being Sydney's cousin. We meet Kirby. We meet Olivia. Jill gets the first Ghostface call. Gale's having some issues with her writing. We also meet some of the other characters. We meet Deputy Hicks, as we were talking about, Robbie, Charlie, Trevor. And then we have, Dewey showing up, and while Sydney's got her book signing going on, and there's, a knife and blood in Sydney's car, and Gale immediately wanting to be involved. What did you think here about this setup, these introductions to our side characters, and just starting to get this going?
Yeah, I think the setup's fine. Sydney writing a book is a clear, I think, objective for her. I think that'd be something within line with what her character would do, especially with what the book's about as well.
Right.
And like we talked about earlier with Gale and Dewey, I think that was the perfect way to have it. They've been married 10 years. And I believe at this point they've been married in real life for quite a while as well. So
I think so.
I think that's just kind of the perfect way to set it. And especially with Gale not having a sense of direction also makes sense. Her being stuck in a small town, she can't. Besides real life, it's not like she's written any other books, right? Besides murder, true crime. So it makes sense that she would be struggling. Dewey also becoming the sheriff would make sense as well.
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense that his limps are gone away.
I was going to ask you about that later, because I think for some reason, and I don't remember if it's this one or the next one, he mentions the limp at some point. It might be the next film where he mentions he's got this limp, but he hasn't had the limp since like Scream 3. So I don't know what was going on there, but and I agree a lot with what you're saying here, but I have one issue, and this might just be me. I know it sounds like I have a lot of issues. I promise I don't hate this movie, but we talked a little bit in our reviewing of 2 and 3, Gale. I think I'm over Gail by this movie. Again, I completely understand what you're talking about. Here, as it makes sense. She's in this small town. This is not really her thing, and she's having writer's block, and but just the way she immediately jumps in and starts wanting to be involved, and as soon as all this comes up, like I don't know. I just my first few watches through the Scream franchise, I was a huge fan of Gail. Now that we've been going back through them to do this, I'm finding myself not really a big Gail fan anymore. Gail's character annoys me. She was fine in the first film, started getting on my nerves in the second, was on my nerves in the third, and by now I just don't like her.
Yeah, I feel like she has moments in this movie where it's like, oh, come on. Like, there's a scene where she's talking to Alison Brie's character afterwards, and she's like, "Oh, I loved your book," or whatever, and like, "Oh, what are you gonna do now?" And she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna punch a size your face," or something like that.
Yeah.
She's like, and then she walks away, and she's like, "I still got it," and it's like,
Yeah.
that was so cheesy.
Yeah.
And there's a couple moments in the film like that are a little weird for Gail. I think you made a note. It's not an exact talking point, but there is a section here we'll get to later. But I think for the most part, her butting in makes total sense because she's been cooped up here in the small town. She hasn't anything to write about. It makes sense for her character. I just wish that she wasn't such a bitch about it,
Yeah, I think that's my thing. It makes perfect sense. I agree with you 100%. It makes perfect sense. But she's such a bitch about it that I just don't like her anymore.
Yeah.
And I liked her further before. So I know I'm probably really upsetting some Scream fans right now. I don't like the opening. I don't love Kirby, and I don't like Gail. Yeah, I'm not doing well right now.
Hey, man, I've been saying too for Gail to go for a long time. And I would have liked Gail's character a lot more if she didn't have those weird, cheesy moments. I would have liked it more if she was maybe taking a step back, being a little more like covert, I guess, and not so up in people's faces and stuff like that. Like I think that would have been a cool, different look for Gail. And especially with her sassiness towards like other people, I was just like, like you've been married for this long and you've clearly tolerated living.
Been through. Yeah, how many times can you go through what she's been through and not change a little bit? But she never changes. And
no,
it's just frustrating to me. I think, but yeah.
It's the I hate to say I wrote I hate to say I wrote the book on that, but I wrote the book on this. That was. I was like, this is brutal writing, Kevin. Like, come on.
Yeah, I almost feel like they were trying to make Gail's character annoying at this point, but yeah, I don't know. From there, Dewey ends up calling, or I'm sorry, not calling, but Dewey and Sydney talk a little bit. They talk to the girls about the phone calls they've been getting. We find out Sydney's going to stay with Jill and her Aunt Kate. Kirby's also going to spend the night. Kirby ends up then getting the Ghostface call, and we get the Olivia attack. Sydney also runs over and ends up getting a call and has a little battle with Ghostface there. But give me your thoughts here as we get our first, well, not our first kill, but the first attack on the friend group here with Olivia getting her kill and the way this all played out.
You can quote me on this. I think Olivia's kill is the most brutal kill since probably the first in the franchise. I think the after gore effects that you get to see of her is incredible. I think it's an incredibly vicious film. Olivia's kill was very shocking, I think, for the Scream franchise because you haven't seen probably intestines since the opening of the first film.
Yeah.
So I agree. Really enjoyed it.
I agree. I absolutely love this kill. I started feeling better now watching this when we got to this part. I was a little thrown, like one place where I see again a different, and it threw me because I was feeling like there was a different tone to this movie, and I mentioned that with the opening having the two like stab openings first, kind of threw me off a little bit because it didn't feel like a Scream movie to me. Even here, in the first movie, they're talking about Silence of the Lambs and Psycho, and they're watching Halloween. This movie, they're watching Shaun of the Dead. Nothing against Shaun of the Dead, but a completely different type of movie. Before, like I said, we're hearing Silence of the Lambs, Psycho, Halloween. This movie, they're watching Shaun of the Dead. I'm like, yeah, see, this is totally different. Like, this is just such a different feel to me through so many little things. But then we switched up and got this incredibly violent, gory kill, and I'm like, oh, yeah, that's better. So yeah, I love this kill as well. I like the way they did it with it just being across the street where they could see it through the window. I thought that was very cool. Um, Sydney running over and having her little battle with Ghostface was fine. But yeah, I really do love this part. I agree. Probably one of the most violent kills, maybe the most violent kill since the first movie. And I, the little issues that I was having here and there started to go away after this first kill. So this kill, I really like this kill as well.
I'm going to go on a quick tangent here. Do you not like
Sure.
Shaun of the Dead?
It's okay. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm not a huge fan. I don't dislike it. I think it's funny. And a lot of times, I've talked about this before. I'm not a huge fan of horror comedies most of the time. I have to be in the mood for horror comedies. Overall, it's typically not my thing because I feel like horror comedies, a lot of times my problem with a horror comedy is they push the comedy so much that there's no horror whatsoever, or the comedy's just not funny. I like Shaun of the Dead. I think it's funny. It's just not something I throw on all the time. I have to be in the mood for it. It's just such a different tone for Shaun of the Dead than it is for a Silence of the Lambs, a Psycho, a Halloween. And I think that's what was kind of getting to me a little bit is, when they're having the party in the first movie, they're watching Halloween. We hear Billy reference Psycho. Silence of the Lambs gets talked about. And we go from those kind of movies to Shaun of the Dead. It's just completely different. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but you're also looking at films that these kids have grown up with during their time, right? Because I was this is what, 2011. I was 17 or 18, about the same age as the characters.
Okay.
And
that's fair.
I would have been right in the wheelhouse watching Shaun of the Dead with them around that time as well, because I remember going out of my way to buy that Shaun of the Dead DVD just so I could watch it for the first time and rewatching the shit out of it, because you're hearing language that you've never even heard before, right? Because it's British humor as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just think that they're films that a different generation grew up on.
Okay, that's a fair point. Very fair point. So I probably didn't think about that. So, but yeah, no, I don't dislike Shaun of the Dead. Just I have to be in the mood to watch that one. So yeah. Just kind of
fair enough. Yeah. My wife hates it, so I get it.
I thought I had heard that before. Yeah, I don't hate it. I just have to be in the mood for it. But again, I'm that way with things like scary movies, stuff like that too. There's some of the scary movies I think are pretty funny, at least the first couple. But they're not something I just turn on all the time. I have to be in the mood for that kind of thing. Let's get back to Gale for a minute, because now Gale basically ends up talking with Robbie and Charlie and wanting their help. I don't know what your thoughts are on this. To me, it shows how desperate Gale is, that she's going to use these high school students and their film club to try to get her thing going again. But I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on Gale working with these guys?
It felt like to me, it felt like she was like leading them on.
Yeah, I could see that.
I don't know why. I felt really weird and uncomfortable about it, but I'm like, I feel like she's trying to lead these kids on, and it is getting weird.
I can see that. Yeah, I didn't think it at the time, but with you saying that, I'm like, yeah, I can see that. I think just, again, to me, it felt like she was getting desperate because, she's even trying to promote herself to make an appearance at their thing. And then they ask for Sydney, and, she's got a comment to make about that too. So I just felt like it was kind of a desperate moment for Gale. Like she's looking for anything she can possibly get to kind of get back out there again. And with me starting to have issues with her character, I'm just like, yeah, this is Gale. Now we're high school students.
I mean, the fastest way to catch the killer is probably to be a part of the group that it's the killer's essentially attacking, right?
Yeah, which is fair. I'm just, maybe I just don't like Gale. So Sydney ends up then firing her assistant, and we get Rebecca is her name. We get her seen in the parking garage where she gets the phone call. She ends up getting attacked then, and let's talk about that one for a minute. What were your thoughts on this whole parking garage scene?
I thought it was fine. I mean, this is kind of like one of those kills where you're like, yeah, okay, she can die because you're just coming off the conversation with Sydney Prescott and her letting her go, and for some reason Sydney just realizes that her agent's all about the money, which
Yeah.
is what agents are there to do.
Yeah.
But I guess she didn't like the fact that she was trying to glorify what happened in this little town. But I mean, yeah, you're kind of almost rooting for her to go in some
Yeah.
kind of way. I felt in this scene. I think it was a decent scene. Like it's tense in moments, especially like who doesn't fear walk? I'm 6'4", and I fear walking in an empty parking garage by myself.
Right.
Like it's like I'm not a fighter or anything by any means, but I get startled, So imagine I can't imagine Alison Brie is very tall or anything like that. So like there's a natural fear for everybody when doing something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was fine. Again, like another brutal-esque kill. It's the problem with the Olivia kill is nothing quite matches up to
Right.
that
Yeah.
throughout the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
But I like it. I mean, it's Ghostface in this film is making a clear statement to the police and everybody that's around with throwing her over the roof and hitting into
Right.
the news van. Dewey too. What a going and checking her pulse right away. And like, yeah, I don't think he needed to do that, but
yeah, probably not.
that's just a Dewey maneuver. I guess he's survived a billion different stab wounds, so I guess you never know. Getting thrown out of a 3-story parking garage, you might survive. Yeah, I just think it was a fine kill.
Yeah, I think it doesn't compare, as you were saying, to the Olivia kill, but I do like the tension in this. And one of the shots I really like is the end shot there right before he does kill her, when she gets to the elevator and then she turns around and Ghostface just comes running at her out of nowhere. Because I feel like that was a really good shot, because I don't feel like, so many times with these slasher films, the killer just walks around, right? Like we don't get a lot of like real aggressive behavior from a killer until they're right there with you. So to see Ghostface running at her, I liked that shot. I thought that was really good because I felt like it was a tense scene, and that just added to it. So the kill itself wasn't as good, but I liked the tension there. So I enjoyed this as well. Yeah, and like you said, of course, Dewey comes over and checks things out. From there, Sydney and Gail make their appearance there for Charlie and Robbie, and they have the whole horror remake talk that we, start to get through some of these films. They come up with the idea of the killer maybe being at the Stabathon, and we hear about, the Stabathon and what it's going to be like. Sydney and Jill have some conversations, and then we get Gail going to the Stabathon and hiding cameras and her getting attacked. What were your thoughts here on the Stabathon and Ghostface and Gail?
I think the Stabathon is a great idea and addition, especially for small town kids with nothing else better to do than to watch movies that are based in their town, especially horror movies. Really makes sense to me. I think it was a missed opportunity for them to do something kind of cool with that, and by having a little bit of a, I mean, it wouldn't be really Ghostface, I guess, if he did take out like 10 kids before leaving. But I mean, they talk about how this movie is like a soft remake or reboot, and they talk about how it's going to up the ante in every way, and they never truly grabbed on that for this moment. I mean, have your Stabathon and have your after party, but like have your Stabathon like your Stabathon, like let Ghostface take a couple kids out, have some fun with it in that kind of sense, because it ups the stakes, because you show that Ghostface isn't really fucking around, which is why I like Ghostface a lot in the next film. And I think that this was kind of like a missed opportunity of like, yeah, Ghostface just doesn't care. Like he's just going to take out these kids and up the ante on a bunch of stuff. I mean, this is where we get Gail going in there, sneaking in as well and setting up cameras, which was another thing that I thought was smart, which is kind of a callback from the first film as well.
Right. Yeah, I agree. I appreciate that. And I think I agree with him. Well, in fact, I did write down somewhere here. I'm just not seeing it. I wrote opportunity. I didn't write missed opportunity, but I wrote opportunity here because yeah, I felt like this could have been better. It wasn't bad, but I felt like this could have been better to have something major happen here at the Stabathon. I thought would have been really good. And here's where they missed their opportunity to kill Gale as well. So there were two missed opportunities here. This could have been where she goes, is my thoughts. But yeah, just overall, there could have been more at the Stabathon. I didn't dislike it, but I do agree. Your words were perfect. It was a missed opportunity. Something better could have happened here.
Yeah, and I feel like during the promotion of this film, there's for the trailers, there is big significant aspect or bits of the film that were heavily put into the trailer, which was, Courtney Cox struggling and almost getting stabbed.
Right.
And then Sidney Prescott being in the same thing during the house battle with Olivia after Olivia's death. Those were both featured heavily in the trailers and the marketing for this movie.
Yeah.
So I feel like it was a missed opportunity because you're like, in that point, you're like, oh, which one's going to go, And I feel like in the trailer, Courtney Cox says something, but she doesn't say it in this one either. Or maybe she does, but I don't think it was great enough to remember. But yeah, I think this was a missed opportunity to take Gale out because I think what we get for Dewey in the next one, I think it would have worked with both senses, and I almost would have rather have seen Dewey in that kind of sense than just the divorce that we do get. But and Gale wouldn't have been in the future of the franchise.
Yeah.
So yeah. I definitely would have liked that as well.
Yeah, I think it would have played up instead of them getting divorced. Then yeah, Dewey just could have been devastated by losing Gale. So yeah, I think that would have been better. I agree. What we get to next is we get back out to Jill's house for a minute, and this is another scene that I really do like. So again, there are things that I enjoy about this movie. The two cops getting killed outside the house. I really like that scene. I don't know what your thoughts are there, but the one cop gets his throat slit, the other one gets like basically stabbed in the forehead and then kind of staggers around for a minute. The whole "fuck Bruce Willis" line before he falls down was kind of funny to me. So yeah, I like these two deaths. What were your thoughts here?
I thought it was all right. I like Adam Brody and I like Anthony Anderson, of course. I think they're both great in their own kind of personal wheelhouse. Of course, Anthony Anderson being a huge comedic persona, and Adam Brody just kind of does everything now, it seems like. But I've forgotten that he was even in the movie. So I thought it was good. I do like how they kept talking about like old cop movies and the tropes of cop films as well. Like, you're gonna die before your retirement and getting too old for this shit, and you're gonna die if you got a picture of your girlfriend up on the dash or something like that. It's just kind of setting you up for. So I kind of like how they bring those tropes into a film that's not a buddy cop movie.
Right.
And they even talk about it too, like either way, one of us is going to die when we leave. Like it's either going to be me or it's going to be you. And then they kind of reverse it and they kill them both at the same time, which I thought was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was all right. I thought it was pretty funny.
I liked it. I did think it was funny. And again, I don't know why, but I really like Ghostface stabbing Anthony Anderson in the forehead like that with the knife, and then him still kind of staggering around for a minute. I thought it was brutal, but then I also liked the way they did it as well. So yeah, I do enjoy that part. Sidney ends up getting a phone call. We discover that Jill has gone to Kirby's. Ghostface attacking Sidney and Aunt Kate. Aunt Kate's kill, not that great in my opinion. I mean, it's different, I guess, to be stabbed through the mail slot. But based on some of the other kills we've got, it was just fine. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, you saw an opportunity to get one of them.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah, that kind of works there. Nothing special about it, but it's fine. We get to a party that Kirby's having, and the first kill we have here at this party of Kirby. I mean, we get some fun interaction where Kirby and the other guy are talking about the movies, and we kind of see a hint at maybe something happening between them. Trevor shows up, of course. I mean, there's a lot going on here, but what about Robbie's kill? Did you like the way that happened with him kind of having his camera backwards for a minute and then he turns it around, Ghostface shows up?
Yeah, I do like that kill. And he gets another, he's gets a little brutal kill too for a character. And as
Yeah.
well as him trying to justify saving himself as well, I thought was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Um, I thought it was pretty good. I don't think it was tense by any means or anything like that. But I did like it, because it does set up the camera, and he's also live streaming at that point as well,
Right.
right? So like
Still doing this
people,
thing. Yeah.
yeah, like who knows who's watching, but it just kind of happens. So
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. I like it as well. It reminded me for some reason a little bit of, and I'm not sure which one came out first now. I feel like this probably came out first, but I could be wrong. Halloween Resurrection, where they've all got the damn camera things on when Michael's attacking.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's kind of what this reminded me of a little bit, but yeah, it was fine. The fact that he had it turned backwards for a minute, then when he turns it around, Ghostface is there. I did like that. Um, so yeah, we get Robbie's kill. Sydney arrives. We get Ghostface chasing Sydney and Jill for a little bit and kind of going through that. Sydney also calls Dewey to get some help, and then we get at this point, if you've never seen the movie before, you get Ghostface attacking Charlie when he's outside and trying to get back in, and Sydney and Kirby won't let him in, and so then he attacks Charlie there in front of him. After Charlie and Kirby had kind of had their moment. Any thoughts here on this scene? I mean, it kind of reminds you a little bit of the first, where Drew Barrymore, where her boyfriend gets killed outside while she's, inside and watching, and that's, I think, what this is kind of a throwback to a little bit.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, this is a direct homage to that. Yeah, I believe her boyfriend's name is Steve. Yeah, I think it's a great scene. I think it's incredibly tense. I do like the questions that are asked. And I love that long list of movies that she names off. She almost names them. She doesn't name the April Fool's Day remake, which is just so obscene.
I agree.
But she does name pretty much all of them that had come out to that point, which I really enjoyed that she just had them all memorized as well as the other stuff. So I think it was good.
Yeah, I love that.
I thought it was tense. The reveal I thought was pretty kind of heartbreaking. I mean, you can definitely tell throughout the movie there is this kind of will they, won't they kind of thing going on with these two characters, which I liked. I also thought the way that they do kind of like when they do finally kiss, it's kind of cute. Like it's, I mean, I was for it. Definitely think she could do better, but I mean, high school stuff, take what you can get. Yeah, and then when Charlie stabs her, I'm like, damn, I forgot about that. Like that's rough, dude.
Yeah, no, I agree. And this is the part from Kirby that, again, just like you talked about, I love this part as well, where she's going through all the movies. And I remember the first time I watched this, I was legitimately shocked at this reveal. I was not expecting Charlie at all. And, even now that I know it, when I watching this again, I'm like, he seems so infatuated with Kirby. Like, he just seems like he's so into her to then just get up and kill her or try, attempt to kill her, basically. Like, it's no big deal. I was like, man, that was rough. Like, I will give you credit. That was rough. I did not see that coming in the beginning. So, yeah, but I think it's a good scene. There's some good tension there. There's a lot happening. The trivia with Kirby is great. Let's see. Charlie that attacks Sydney. I'm surprised he had any luck. I mean, after everything else we've seen Sydney do, I feel like this Charlie guy would be pretty simple for her to get past, but that's okay. And then we get the second Ghostface reveal, and we get that we find out it's Jill. What are your thoughts on this reveal, on Jill's reveal?
Jill was so shocking for me. I think the first time I watched it, and I love it. I think it is great. I like that it's somebody in Sydney's family that's not a made-up brother from the other side of the country. Being her cousin, I think was a fantastic choice. I love the motivation set. I love Jill as a Ghostface, to be honest. I think she's probably third in my overall list of all the killers, just for motivation. Like, I like Mickey for other reasons, like because he's a lot of fun to watch. But I think Jill is like way more entertaining to watch, and I like her motivation a lot more. But yeah, like I was shocked when it turned out to be her.
Yeah, I was completely surprised as well. I agree with you that she would definitely be up there. I would probably put her at third or fourth as far as my favorite Ghostface killers as well. So, um, we find out that her motivation is being jealous of Sydney, and she wants, some fame too. I like the way she basically, I mean, she was attempting to frame Trevor, and then she shoots and kills him. She turns on Charlie very quick, and kills him as well, which I had forgot how quickly she turned on him. Um, and then the scene
There's
where,
another.
go ahead.
Sorry, there's just such a bad line in that too, and Kevin Williamson, man, to clean up your dialogue a little bit. When she like goes to stab him in the shoulder
Yeah.
and stabs him in the heart, and he's like, "Oh, you stabbed me in the heart." Come on.
Yeah, not some of the best dialogue, but yeah, she turned on him pretty quickly there. Yes, I mean that was fine. The scene where after she stabs Sydney and then she starts injuring herself, I don't know why that scene is so funny to me every single time. I mean, she just really goes all out to mess herself up to play this out. I mean, she goes to the extremes, and I feel like every time I watch it, it cracks me up. But it's good at the same time. I mean, it's not cracking me up like I think it's bad. I'm just like, damn, this girl's committed to this role.
Then that scene scares the shit out of me because
Really?
I think women just kind of have that in them to do it. I think one of the most terrifying films is Gone Girl. I don't know, like, they're just so methodical.
Yeah. Okay, that's a fair point.
So, her doing this, I think, is just incredible. But I want to kind of get into her reveal, her motivation reveal,
Sure.
because I think it's something that's touched up on very early on with her mom, who would be Sydney's aunt,
Right.
with talking about Sydney's aunt's talking about how she's the one, she also had stuff to deal with, and nobody ever really, she was never on TV and nobody really cared about her. So I feel like this is like some generational trauma being passed down on her, and then that's a community thing as well, because Deputy Judy Hicks also says that she was in high school during the same time as Sydney.
Right.
So she's also went through some trauma as well of being in the school. So that's kind of like this setup for where their motivations could be.
Yeah.
And I feel like Jill's probably seen Sydney on TV all the time, and then people are starting to get internet famous at this point. I think that this
Right.
is like early stages of YouTube where people are, this is like Smosh era of YouTube. If you guys remember who those I believe they're still going, but like Chris Stuckman also started movie reviewing around this time, as well as Jeremy Johns. Right. So like these are pinnacle points in these people starting their YouTube career to get really famous. And she says that she doesn't even need friends, she needs fans.
Yeah.
Which is why I think this movie and her motivation would be so much more relevant today than ever before, because now, if she does this, she's going to get sponsored by like Adidas or Nike and Reebok and Gatorade, and then maybe she goes to make her own drink line. Like this is just such a relevant thing, and it's just, I feel like it was lost because back then everybody was like, no way, like there's no way this is gonna happen. And this is before, like, are they using smartphones in this, like smartphones?
Yeah, now that you say that, I don't think so.
I feel like they're using flip phones still in this movie.
It seems like it. Yeah.
So
you're right.
Yeah, flip phones are like, the slider phones,
Right.
which were becoming popular with the full keyboard.
Yeah.
So like, just like a couple years later, we get, the whole camera on the phone where you can live stream right from your phone, no problem, with no lags or anything. So
yeah,
if this movie just would have been given 3 years, I think it would have been hit. I would think it would have hit so much harder.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. And yeah, that's a good point. And I think her motive works. I mean, I like this whole setup here. Dewey and the police arrive. Jill and Sydney are taken to the hospital, and then Jill mentions to having the same wounds as Gail has when she's talking to Dewey, and then Dewey reveals to her that Sydney might still be alive. They really don't know what's going on there yet. As soon as Dewey leaves the room, then Jill gets up to go after Sydney, and then Dewey's talking to Gail, and they figure out what's going on there with Jill. And then we get an interesting battle. I mean, we get Sydney versus Jill. We get Dewey beaten with a bedpan. Gail coming in, Hicks coming in. I mean, there's a lot going on there that Jill's dealing with before Sydney's able to get the upper hand. So, just kind of give me your thoughts on this whole hospital scene. Jill making the mistake she made of mentioning the wounds, going after Sydney. Yeah, just your thoughts here on everything that's going on in the hospital.
It's so hard because it was almost like a picture perfect finish end to the story with Jill being wheeled out on the stretcher and everybody's taking photos of her and she's like loving it, and then she's finally in the hospital bed and Dewey's there and he's like, she might survive, and just like you can just see all the anger just come back into her face, right. Like especially her eyes. I love it. So I think that sequence is great. I think the slip up was unintentional, but it happens. Sure. And then Dewey is such a doofus. I love Dewey to death in all these films. Not cluing into that for Sheriff. I mean, people make mistakes, of course, but good thing Gail was there, I guess.
Yeah.
And Dewey gets the shit out of the stick in most of these movies. I tell you, beating with a bedpan is pretty rough.
Yeah.
I think the battle between Sydney and Jill is pretty good. I do like how they both kind of take advantage of each other's wounds.
Right.
Yeah, it's fine. I mean, I like Jill's kill. I thought that was pretty well done. I think the defibrillator was a good call.
Right.
Deputy Hicks, I think, has a rough line in there where she's like, wear the vest, save your chest.
Yeah.
You know what? I bet you that's something that's taught in law enforcement, though. You know what I mean? Like early training, I could see that.
Yeah.
So.
I think here, I'm with you 100%. I love Emma Roberts' performance here. The way she does that with her eyes, like you said, when she realizes that Sydney might still be alive. Her performance is incredible here. I really like what she does. Dewey being Dewey and Gail basically figuring it out for him and then him taking off. But I'm with you. I like the battle between Sydney and Jill. I think it's pretty good. Here's more where Deputy Hicks just annoys me for some reason in this scene. So I'm still not buying her character. But I do like Jill's kill as well. The defibrillator. Then, she gets shot in the head, of course. And I like the very ending where, while all this has happened in the hospital and she's in there dead, the reporters are outside calling her a hero. They don't know what's taking place inside the hospital. And so we've got, them out there. I mean, she's getting what she wanted. She just doesn't know it, because of the way things went for there at the end. But I think the ending's done pretty well. If they would have taken out Deputy Hicks coming in, then it would have been perfect, but she just annoys me in there as well. So
I almost think it's a shame that Jill isn't mentioned as a great ghost face like Billy and Stu are throughout the rest of the franchise.
Yeah.
Because I haven't seen 6 in a while. I don't think I've seen it in a year and a half or so, but I can't remember if she was directly mentioned in Scream 6 because that's like the big reference movie, right?
Right. And I don't think that she was. I mean, it's been a while since I've seen it as well, but I agree with you that I wish she would have gotten more, because I feel like in the horror community, there's a lot of people that Joe Roberts is their favorite ghost face. I mean, Stu and Billy get a ton of attention, but there's a lot of people that really love Joe Roberts, and I think it's fair. I mean, she's phenomenal. So, I wish they would have given her a little more attention in some of the other one, in 5 and 6.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. I would like to shout out the little detail of her when she's first initially in the house and she's like passed out after doing all the damage to herself. She poses directly across from Sydney, to kind of have that, I'm the victim now, just
Yeah,
like you. I thought that was kind of nice. And then, of course,
I
that
agree.
shot also comes back in the end of the film, which I
Right.
thought was really well done as well.
Yeah, I agree. And I don't think I had. It's funny you say that because I don't think I had ever really noticed that before until this last time. That's something that I was like, oh, that's pretty cool the way she's doing that. So yeah, I completely agree with you there. Um, yeah, and that's Scream 4. So I'm very curious, knowing where you've rated some of the other ones. Well, before we do our rating, anything else about the film you want to mention before we wrap it up?
No, I think everybody's heard me kind of ramble on about how ahead of its time I think it is enough. Um, I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed this rewatch. I was kind of expecting not to like it as much
Okay.
on this rewatch as I did, but I don't know if it was because I was 17 when this movie came out, or 17 or 18 when this movie came out, why I enjoy it so much. Like maybe it's a nostalgic thing for me.
Okay.
But I really enjoy this film. I think it's very well done, and of course, this is Wes Craven's last Scream movie.
Right.
Um, and you can feel it.
Yeah.
Definitely feel it in this film. So, yeah, I really enjoyed everything, and Jill's up there with my favorite Ghostface of all time as well.
Yeah. I completely agree with that part of it. So then on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you give Scream 4?
I did write it down already. Okay, so I didn't go as high as kind of what I would initially thought I would have given this, and especially after talking about it as well. Um, but it definitely does beat out most of the other Scream films. Um, John, I'm giving this movie an 8.5.
Wow. Okay. Damn. I did
I
not expect you to like it more than 2 for some reason. So interesting. Okay.
I had the same feelings, and I don't know why. I think this could be some nostalgia given at that 0.5.
Yeah.
Um, and like most of the reason why this movie I think it's toned down that far is because of the rough dialogue we discussed
Mhm.
and the way it looks. If this movie wasn't so overblown, I think this movie would gain another half a point.
Okay.
Um, I've seen I don't know if you watched. I did a media what's coming out next month or this
Yeah.
month for physical media,
Right.
and they have stills from the new Scream 4 4K restoration,
Yeah. I remember you
and
mentioning that.
yeah, they're looking good. They're not looking perfect. They're looking good. So I'm hoping that they really kind of take out a lot of the extra lighting.
Okay.
And if it's a really good 4K scan and they do that, this might become a 9 if they fix that technical issue.
Okay. Yeah, I'm very curious because I want to pick this one up on 4K. Right now, I don't think I even have this on Blu-ray. I think I just have this on DVD. I never upgraded to Blu-ray. So I want to pick up the 4K and hope that it looks better as well. Um, gosh, I'm torn right now. Your rating did surprise me. I didn't expect you to go quite that high. So I mean, I'm glad that you like it so much. Um, man, I'm torn on this one just a little bit. I think I'm going to give it the same rating that I gave 3, and that's a 7. Um, and I almost went lower at one point because I struggled through the first part of this movie. I'll be completely honest with you. I struggle more in the first half of this movie than I have in any of the other Scream movies. I think it's a combination of the dialogue and the way that it looks. As I've mentioned, I don't like the Deputy Hicks character. I don't like Gale anymore by this point, and so I think those things, like not being big on Hicks, not liking Gale, and then the things we just talked about, were hurting me watching this on my rewatch this last time. Like I was really struggling with it a little bit. Um, Once we get Olivia's kill, I started kind of get to back into it, and then there was a lot of things about it that I really enjoy after that, and that's why I stand by my statement that I keep saying there's not a bad Scream movie in my opinion. There's just some that are better than others, and I feel like 3 and 4 are so similar for me because there are parts of both of them that I really enjoy, and then parts of both of them that I don't like at all. Um, but I love I love the Joe Roberts character. I think Emma Roberts was amazing here. There's some really, really good kills. So I can't go too low. So yeah, I hate to give it the exact same rating, but I think that's just where I'm going to have to be. I'm going to have to say 7 out of 10, just like Scream 3, and I'll figure out whenever we get to the end which one I like better.
All right. Yeah, it'll be really interesting. Honestly, I think why I gave this one such a higher rating, well, not that much higher, I guess, than Scream 2, is because I feel like this movie had more social commentary of what's to come over Scream 2. Scream 2's kind of only meta themes were it's a sequel and that's all it's going to be, right?
Right.
So I feel like this movie, like the first one was the meta movie, and then it just kind of continued to be meta. This movie had a lot more social commentary going on in it than what I kind of expected. So I think that's also another reason why it kind of got that half a point.
Yeah. Nope, that makes sense. I just when I was watching it the other day, probably about 30 to 40 minutes in, I'm like, wow, this is actually going to be my least favorite. Because at that point, I was sitting at like a 6. And I'm like, I really thought this movie was better than that, but I'm probably going to end up giving this a 6. And then the second half, I'm like, okay, that actually was good. So I do like it. I know I had some issues there and complained about some things, but for the most part, it's all fairly minor. It's nothing that just really affects me too much. I just feel like if they could have cleaned up if the dialogue would have been better, that would have made a big difference for me. Maybe get it up to a 7.5 or something. But just the combination of the dialogue, the lighting, and then not being crazy about a couple of characters hurt it for me a little bit. But still, overall, yeah, I'm good with saying a 7 out of 10. Yeah, that's Scream 4, and then a couple of days we'll have the Scream 5 episode out. So, how long has it been since you've seen Scream 5?
I did a rewatch of Scream 5 and 6 the last time. It's probably about a year and a half. Or whenever Scream 6 came out, I think like a month later I watched Scream and Scream 6 back to back. Okay. Just to kind of see if it was like, because I remember really enjoying Scream 5. And then I went back and watched it again, and that's a different topic. But yeah, so I watched it yesterday, actually, for the first time, and probably about a year and a half.
Okay. Yeah, I just watched it a couple of days ago myself, and we'll save that and get into it later. But yeah, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on it, because I feel like I had seen this movie. I feel like Scream 5 and Scream 6, they've been on some streaming service that I can't remember if it's what they're on. I can't remember if it's Max or what it is, but I feel like I turn them on a lot just because I'm like, yeah, I'll turn that on. And it's just on while I'm cooking or cleaning or doing something. And so it's just on in the background because they just keep popping up. But to actually sit down and watch it just the other day was the first time in a while that I've sat down and watched it from beginning to end. So yeah, definitely curious to hear your thoughts on that one as we keep going through this franchise. And yeah, maybe once we get through it all the way, Sam can come back and kind of let us know what she thinks. I'm just curious her opinion of a few things here and there. So if nothing else, maybe she can tell you how she rates them, so we can know what she thinks too.
Yes, absolutely. And I don't think she's seen Scream 4 in a long time, so I don't think she had an opinion on it the other day when I put it on. So otherwise, I would have gave it to you.
Yep, nope, that works. All right, well, we'll wrap this up then. Take a minute to go ahead again and promote your channel and talk about anything that you guys might have coming up.
Of course. So, of course, I am Brendan, one half of Our Life in Horror, and tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern time, I believe, Sam and I, Robbie and Kaylee, there's Ken and Ashley Sledge, and there's another couple, I don't know who they are, but we're going to be doing the Newlyweds game live on their channel. And then I think I'm off until the following Thursday. I think Rob and Kaylee are coming on to discuss The Wretched. That'll be 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time as well.
Okay. Very cool. Yep, definitely check it out. Again, I feel like anybody that knows my channel already knows you guys, but if not, somebody random popped up, go check out Our Life in Horror. Become a member. Yeah, give them all the support, hit the like, the hype, all that stuff on their videos, and help them get it out there. They've also got some cool merch in their store. So yeah, definitely check out Our Life in Horror. Coming up on Sean's Horror Corner, of course, as I mentioned, Brendan will be back. We'll be talking about Scream 5. I also have Sleepaway Camp. I'll be doing an episode on Sleepaway Camp very soon. Brendan will be back for Scream 6. Mike from Mike and Serial. What is their Voices of the Mausoleum? Is that it?
Voices of the Mausoleum.
Yeah. He's going to be on with me very soon. We'll be talking about Terrifier 2. Sarah and Kelly from Final Girls podcast will be back. We'll be talking about Jeepers Creepers Reborn. So yeah, a lot of fun stuff. A lot of fun stuff coming. So hit subscribe so you don't miss anything. Hit like today. Leave me some comments. Let Brendan and I know what you think about Scream 4. Please don't hate me too much for not loving Kirby. I don't dislike her. I just don't love her as much as a lot of people, but it's fine. So leave me some comments, hit the like button, follow me on social media. I'm pretty much on everything out there. Blue Sky, Instagram, Threads, TikTok, X. I have a letterbox. So yeah, follow everything. And Brendan and I'll be back here in just a couple of days to talk Scream 5. So thank you again, everyone. Thank you again, Brendan.
Of course. Thank you very much.
Yeah. And I will see you soon.